everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this exciting edition of Easton Park Talk. I'm here with our neighbor, Yoori Koo, who is in, what neighborhood are you in?
I'm in Kiki.
She's in Kiki Park, and we're just going to hang out and talk today about some of the cool things that you've done and that you're doing in your driveway and garage and then also in your life.
Sounds good. Thank you for having me.
Yes. So why don't we start by how did you get to Austin? Tell us your kind of story.
It's a little bit of a long one.
I love
I'll
it.
try to cut it short
excellent.
and please ask questions.
Yeah.
So I actually grew up in Germany.
Okay.
To Korean immigrant parents. I went to school in Germany and somehow I ended up in England.
Okay.
So I spent almost 10 years in London working there for hospitality companies.
Okay.
And then from there, because hospitality is so global and they're everywhere,
Sure.
it kind of took me everywhere. I went to Washington, D.C. and then spent a few years there and then took a new job in Istanbul. So I moved back to Europe.
Wow.
And then I quit my job. And then I decided I'm just going to be a digital nomad and travel. And I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time in Barcelona, in Vietnam, some time in Miami and Oregon. And then I thought, I can't live like this. I need roots. I need to be home somewhere. And decided I would give Germany a go. So I moved back to Germany, to Berlin. And everything went well in summer, and then winter arrived.
Oh, no. And when you were in Germany?
In Germany. So Berlin is pretty flat. It's really close to Poland and Russia. So it gets really, really cold and windy in winter. So I decided to be somewhere warm. And I had a opportunity to freelance with someone in Texas. So I just packed up the dog and moved to Texas.
No big deal.
No big deal. I was in Dallas for a few months, decided that wasn't for me. Somebody recommended, hey, why don't you try Austin? Might be more your vibe. Packed up the dog again, bought a house and moved here. And that is 5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. Amazing. So that's so interesting. And you're like, I was picking up on your accent there. I could hear some German, but then also some like English too. But you were,
yeah.
That's so cool. I love that. Like, it's just so fascinating. So can you speak German?
Yeah, it's my first language.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That's so amazing.
It's actually funny when I speak Korean, which my parents are Korean, I do actually have a German accent.
You just blew my mind a little bit.
Yeah, it's a little funny.
Yeah, that's interesting. Do your parents also have a German accent since they were there for so long?
No, so my parents moved to Germany in the late 70s.
Okay.
Back then, Germany recruited a lot of, they called it guest workers from abroad to really help the economy grow.
Okay.
And my parents came as a wave of that. So they really were adults when they came to Germany while I was born and raised there.
And you went to school there?
Went to school there.
That's amazing.
Free, by the way.
So my cousin Andrea studied abroad. She went to Germany. My mom's family is Hanish. They're German, and so she always was like very fascinated by the culture. And she went for her, I think it was her first 3 years of college, and absolutely loved it. I mean, everything about it, just from the way that school works to just the people and the culture. She says she absolutely loved it there. And she met a boyfriend. What was his name? Marco. He actually came back with her.
Oh, wow.
Well, they broke up and then he went back to Germany. But it was like, he was so cool.
He was committed.
He was, yes. But we had a Christmas with him, and he came to our family's house and did this thing where it was like a sugar cone, and he poured.
Oh my goodness! Yes.
What is that? With the is it rum or?
Yeah,
something?
So it's called Feuerzangenbowle, and you have mulled wine in a hot pot that you heat up. It's basically mulled wine on steroids, and then you have this sugar cone. You soak it in rum. It has to be high proof, so it can actually burn.
Yeah.
So you light that thing on fire, and then the sugar caramelizes into the mulled wine with the rum.
It was delicious.
Yes.
It's so good. And our whole family was just like, Andrea, this guy is so cool. But it was just so neat to see like such a different like tradition from the culture that even like my mom's family is from, that we never had, like true tradition. He's like, we do this every holiday or every Christmas. I don't remember, but it was really cool.
Super, and food is such a great way to share culture too.
Yeah. I love Yeah, just to experience cultures through food is amazing. My grandmother and my grandpa on my dad's side were Spanish, and her cooking is like home, you know?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's amazing. So I guess what do you miss the most about like where I guess maybe the better question is
Mhm.
where was your favorite place to live?
So the reason I spent so long like bopping around places, I was looking for the perfect place to live.
Hmm.
Good quality of life, affordable, great weather. And spoiler, there is no perfect place.
Yeah.
It's really about just making the decision to be somewhere. And I think for me, because I grew up in a country where I'm not really from,
Hmm.
um, it's a little different. I don't have that innate, oh, I feel home here.
Sure.
So I was searching for that one place where I'm like, oh, this is giving me all the feelings and I feel like home. And if it doesn't, then at least on paper it should be perfect.
Sure.
But yeah, after all of this travel, it's really honestly just a decision to say, hey, this is it. And then it's about the people that you meet, right?
Yeah.
And the home that you create rather than finding it, which I've been looking for many years.
Interesting. Yeah, because it's, as you become an adult, like you kind of make your own family, you choose your own it's like a choose your own adventure in a
Yeah.
way. Did you ever get to spend time in Korea?
Yeah, we actually just went on almost a month vacation in October. So last
Nice.
month. I took Dan. He is American from Pennsylvania. So that
Okay.
was really interesting to see him
Yeah.
try to navigate that very different culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents moved back.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, they kind of wanted to be back in their home country.
Sure.
So I tried to make an effort to go regularly.
Nice. And did Dan like it?
He loved it. He loved the food. He won my parents' heart by really eating just anything and everything and not
Awesome.
being picky. So yeah, we had a really good time.
Excellent. I love that. So when you were working, you had the same job as you were traveling around.
Yeah.
And what were you doing for work?
I was in marketing for a hospitality company. So different roles from based in the hotel to being in the regional office to the headquarters. So kind of did everything I could within that realm. And then after that, I felt a little burned out and
Yeah.
like, I've done everything. Let's take a break.
Nice. And
Yeah.
so you moved to Texas. You were in Dallas, you said.
I was in Dallas.
What part? So like I've learned we have a client in Dallas, and I've learned that like Dallas is you can be in Dallas and someone else that can be in Dallas, but you're 2 hours away. So like
Right.
what part of Dallas were you in?
I was more in central Dallas.
Okay.
Really close to Uptown.
Mhm.
Uptown, what was it called? Oak Hill.
Yes.
I think they call it the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. That's very central.
Yeah.
Neighbors were all really friendly, easy to get to places, good restaurants and places. So yeah, it was a good time. I spent 6 months in
Okay.
Dallas overall. But yeah, kind of was missing a little bit more nature, a little bit more quirkiness. That you just don't really get, not even in Oakland, in
No,
Dallas.
yeah, Dallas is beautiful, but it's a lot of concrete,
Yes.
a lot of it just I there's no quirkiness in Dallas. Like
No quirkiness, no greenbelt, no Barton
Yeah.
Springs.
yeah, Austin. I love Austin. I'm glad it sounds like you do too. So have you been in Easton Park for 5 years?
No, so I lived in the 04 zip code.
Oh,
for
fun. I love 04.
That was my first place in Austin.
Awesome.
But then we needed more space, had a second dog. Pandemic started. We needed 2 offices in the house rather than just one. So space got a little tight.
Yeah.
And we found the floor plan that we loved with pace setters. But then it took another 2 years until the house was ready.
Yeah.
Because we signed right during the pandemic.
Yeah. That was such an interesting time because like we were all worried who were already here because did you ever see that show Arrested Development?
No, I've heard about it, but I've not seen it.
It's just about it's like a master plan community that stops. It's like, and so, during COVID, everyone was like, we'd all been here a couple of years, but it was still new. And it was supposed to be this like all these dreams of all of these things coming. And then it stopped. And then remember the price of wood at that time?
Oh my goodness.
Went
yes.
insane. And so it was just kind of this weird thing. And we're really glad that we did not end up in an Arrested Development. And there's been so many amazing people to move in. And Kiki, that's one of the newer ones, right?
Yeah, and we're right at the end of Kiki too. So that's where they're now starting to build on the other side of Apogee.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But for the longest time, we moved in October 2 years ago, and it was the first Halloween. So we were really excited. We were outside, we were ready with the candy, but we didn't know that there was a map that you sign up for, right? Because we just moved in. There wasn't really that many homes that were inhabited. There were a lot of empty homes, so trick-or-treaters didn't really come all the way down there. We were on the other side. We were on the Apogee rather than on Luxie. So nobody came by for trick-or-treat on Thanksgiving. And Dan sat outside on the porch all evening. It's so sad.
Did y'all get a good, like, it's kind of, I think Steve and I were both laughing a little because, like, we've been here for a while, and Halloween is insane. Like, the first year, I don't think it was, but the second year, it was just like, it was just a line of people that didn't stop for hours. Is that what y'all had this year?
So we figured it out in the end that we had to set up a table in the driveway on the other side. So it's more residential, not on Apogee, but on Luxie. So there's a lot more houses because the other side on Apogee is still empty. Nobody's going to walk there.
Got it.
So we set up a table with our neighbors, sit outside, have a couple of drinks, and just enjoy, like, seeing everybody come by.
I love that.
The year later was a lot better.
Awesome. Yeah, and as it builds out, like,
yes,
because so many kids, and I think it's great, like, they like bus in kids from the surrounding areas, which I think is so cool. And, like, we missed it this year. We were in South Carolina for a wedding, and so I was like, dang it, that's like kind of my favorite time is like all the little kiddos in their little outfits. And
you should set up a camera on a big bowl outside the door.
We had my cousin was here watching our dog, and he was like, I don't really want to do. So we put up a sign that said we're out of town, and, like, we're all just like, dang it, because we spent so many years, like, we would set out a table. I would he left the sign up the next day after when he went to work, and, like, our friends, we had a couple of friends that would come and take care of Kate, and they were like, there's a sign still on your door that says we're out of town, like, please rob us. We were like,
exactly.
Excuse me, but anyway, it was kind of a bummer to miss it, but I'm sure next year we'll have many more neighborhood children and from around the areas, which is cool.
Exactly.
Did you do the Wicked Walk?
We did not. We did last year, I think. Okay. We didn't know it was happening and just happened to walk the dogs and ended up doing the Wicked Walk.
You're in the group of people moving around.
We went for the other way, so we kind of bypassed the line and went counterclockwise.
Oh, perfect.
It was totally unintended. We're like, oh, there's a line. Are we supposed to be here? I don't know.
This year was crazy. Just so many people, which, again, I think is excellent. And just so many, like, it's such an entrepreneurial little community that we have.
It is.
And so, like, there's so many people that were doing their own thing. And I helped my friend Emily Smith, who she's doing art in the park on January 4th. I don't know if you've heard about it, but
I think I read about it. Was she looking for somebody Spanish speaking?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep. Because and we'll get into your art in a second, because it's very cool what you do. But, like, you're such an artist that, like, you should, if you want to, you should go and do some art stuff with Art in the Park. She got a grant from the city. And had to apply. It was like a whole situation. And so she's creating and she'll be on our podcast too. She'll be able to talk about it much more eloquently than I can. But it's like a completely all-inclusive age, all abilities, come and do art in the park. And
it's really cool.
Be creative. She's going to have a musician and all kinds of crafts and I don't know, maybe you can bring some, like, woodworking
stuff.
Work with the kids in the community. Although I wonder if there's, like, a liability thing there.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to be petrified with power tools and kids
like kids don't touch
losing a finger.
So let's talk about your woodworking, because it's so cool. I guess why don't you, like, how did you get into woodworking, and what do you do with the woodworking?
Yeah, so I do woodworking. I do, like, custom furniture. I also help people with designing their homes.
Okay.
And it's relatively new, but when I think about it, it really the seed was planted 20 years ago. I studied architecture for 2 years before I decided I wanted to do business and do other things. Yeah. But that's kind of where the whole passion really started. So I recently got more into, because we moved and there was a lot of things that we wanted to do in the house.
Yeah.
But also a lot of things. I'm very particular with my taste.
Okay.
And I'm having sometimes a hard time finding exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Or if I find it, it's very, 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 very expensive.
Okay.
So I've gotten into, I can do it myself. Maybe let's try it out. What's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work. Then I lost, I don't know, $80 on wood, and we're fine.
It's okay.
So that's kind of how we got into it. The first project we did is our mudroom in the house. We had a long hallway with nothing in it. So we built a bench. We built board and batten on the wall. We learned the hard way how difficult it is to flatten out the texture on the wall.
Oh, yeah.
So it's all been really good learning. So it kind of started from there. And it's whenever I step into the workshop, which is currently our garage, it's really helps me my mind just switches off. Mm-hmm. And just this peaceful Zen kind of state of mind that's hard to find in the everyday, in the hustle. Yeah. Especially when you're in a 9-to-5, when you're still chasing the corporate career. And I realized I was really missing it. Yeah. So I decided to really lean into it. And that's a fairly recent decision of 3-4 months ago.
Congrats.
So far I'm still riding on the high of, I'm doing this, what I want to do. And yeah, I'm really having fun with it.
I love it. We watched some of your Instagram reel today, and it was so cool to you put on your mask and then your things, and you're just
safety first.
Safety first. We took Steve and I got into woodworking years ago. We were actually in the rent house while we were building this house, and it was in the house. It was a rent house, and we were so close to moving in here that we didn't care anymore. Which is probably not the best idea, but he got a big heavy canvas, and he shut we had a wood shop in the dining room of the house. Wow. And he shut it off to the rest of the house, and we were just it smelled really good in there all the time, wood, but we were moving anyway. But we got into all of that, and we took some classes at Woodcraft?
Yeah. It's an awesome place.
It's so cool. Have you taken classes there?
I have not. I've been mostly YouTubing things and learning it by doing.
I highly recommend. I did. What was that?
In the corner, the step stool.
Oh yeah, the step stool back here.
Oh,
Steve made that. I did not make that. He made this table.
This is really cool.
Yeah, that's all. What is it called? Dovetail.
Yeah.
Oh man,
dovetail. And so we did that at Woodcraft. Didn't you do a chair, an Adirondack chair?
Yeah, did a couple things.
And then I did. What did I do? I did a cutting board there, which was really because it teaches you like the cutting board was so just very basic, how do you cut straight and how do you glue and clamp things together and sand things, and that's the little thing underneath the router. Router? Is that right? Kind of where he makes the rounded edges. It was so much fun. And then I got into I took a class for a lathe, and I got into the lathe, and I made pins for a while, but it was such a quick passing passion for me. Steve stayed in it for a while. He said his favorite part was planning the wood shop, and then he made the rolling carts and all the stuff. And then once that was done, he was like, it's done.
Now that I have the workshop, I don't want to do anything anymore.
I was kind of burnt out on it. It was funny. And then when people would come over, his folks would come visit or my folks would come visit, and he'd be like, you guys want to make a cutting board? And then it was Woodcraft in our garage. But
that's so awesome.
Yeah.
And you called it basic, but I mean, this is really the foundation of everything, right? So yeah, it's cool.
So what kind of things are you making? I think we saw a very cool table.
Yeah, so I'm really more interested in larger furniture items. So part of the woodworking is also kind of renovation. We've done a lot of renovating in the house, which sounds ridiculous because we moved in 2 years ago. It's a brand new house and we're already renovating.
Yeah.
But we ripped out our pantry, double door pantry. We widened the opening and we built a cabinet in there and turned it into a coffee bar.
Oh,
so it was a big project. So maybe less fine skills on woodworking, but it includes a lot of drywalling, sanding. So there's a lot of different skills that come together. So I really love doing these projects. And then friends of us commissioned me recently to build them a bar.
Cool.
So they have this beautiful speakeasy in their house.
Okay.
So we painted everything black. There's going to be velvet curtains. It's like beautiful Art Deco, gold chandelier sconces and chandelier from the ceiling.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, he had a hard time finding a bar. So similar to me being picky, he couldn't really find what he wanted.
Yeah.
So I'm building him a 6-foot-long bar that's going to be tiled, like gold fluted tile.
Oh, cool.
And I'm so excited. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that is. So is the speakeasy situation, is that in Easton Park?
No, they actually live somewhere north.
Okay.
We couldn't. We tried, but couldn't quite convert them to moving south.
Yeah. Well, because it's funny, these homes that, for a while, so many people were moving in so quickly. And we did, I don't know if you've seen it, but Steve had another channel where people got outraged when we found out that McDonald's was coming in. And so we did these little like spoof news things. And so he was calling them McMansions, like of Easton Park. And there is like, we were joking that people were putting like humidors in their houses or whatever. So
goodness.
a speakeasy would be very much on brand with Easton Park of like, doing my little speakeasy. Like,
even though I think people would love it.
Oh yeah. I was thinking as you were talking about it, I was like, we could wall off one of the rooms down the
in
hall.
the garage or something.
Yeah.
What's the password?
Oh my gosh, that's right. That would be so fun. That is so cool. So do you get like, have you always been really creative?
Yeah, I always have.
I guess in marketing. Although marketing anymore is such like a business-driven thing. But
It
you gotta
is.
have
There are like kind of two sides to marketing. It's
Mm-hmm.
either like the commercial business-driven side where you work really close with sales and like what are the numbers. And then there's the creative side, or a little more creative side where it's more around branding, around actually creating assets, photo shoots, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So usually they go hand in hand, but it's definitely the creative side that for me was a little bit more exciting.
Yeah. So like when you were younger, or like throughout your life, have you always just been doing things with your hands?
Always. Like I've done pottery. I've always been painting. Like I think I had a 5-year-long phase where I was really into painting. So yeah, I turned my room back in the house into a little artist studio with all the acrylic paints and stuff. Sketching. I took a lot of sketching classes. And that's how I first ended up in architecture.
Okay.
So now was done with high school. I really wanted to do something creative, and architecture really spoke to me.
Yeah.
And I loved it. The conceptual part of it, like designing something that really has dialogue with the environment, like the concept of it. I loved that part. And then after 2 years, we got more technical. And then like all of a sudden I had a panic moment. Like, what if I'm going to spend my life in an architecture firm just calculating the depths of the stairs that we need according to the regulations? So at that point, it's like, oh, no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then the next creative thing that I could think of was marketing. So I switched to business.
Cool. Very cool. Yeah, the architecture, I'm always fascinated by architects because like it's like the art and the math that it's just like it's like you don't often get that. And I've had the opportunity to work with commercial architects for a long time. Before we started our HR business, I was in commercial real estate. We had a co-op with another architecture firm called Mark Hart Architecture. Mark Hart's a dear friend and colleague. And just listening to them do their, like they would work, because we could hear them, we were kind of in a collaborative, and it was just like so math brain, so analytical, and then they'd be like, but the feel and the flow, and it was just so cool. It was always just so fascinating to listen to them.
And it is, and I feel like a lot of that also applies to furniture making too. It's like how much can you stretch the materials, and also how physics and gravity works,
right,
to still get the design that you want, right?
It's so cool. It's so cool. I used to love, we had the opportunity to recruit for Mark for a while, and my favorite part of recruiting with him was going through all of the candidates' portfolios.
Oh,
because you could see like there's like such a personality to it, and each page you would turn, you'd just be like, it was like, this is art. This isn't, and then there would always be like, there was one, I'll never forget it. It was just like, as they had, and it's all, I mean, it's their portfolio. It's all like conceptual, but one of the candidates had put like like, because they put people so it can see, like, so when you're going through you can see like what it would feel like if people were in it, and they had done like a bunch of little Where's Waldo, like little Tyrannosaurus Rexes that you wouldn't know until you found one and you were like, hey. And I was just like, how cool and creative is
and
this
then
person?
they really looked at my portfolio.
Yeah, they were really interviewing us as much as we were interviewing them, and it was just such a very cool, like, I don't know, architects are cool.
It is really cool.
It's like a neat structural, artistic.
Yeah, and it has a big impact too. It's like the spaces they create, right? I mean, sometimes they are residential, but a lot of times they're public spaces too that a lot of people get to enjoy. And how cool is that?
So cool. Have you been you've been in Austin a while. Have you seen like the Highland Mall project?
Yeah.
Isn't that so cool what they've done?
It's super cool.
Yeah, one of my good friends was a part of that. It's a company called Red Leaf, and just talking about entrepreneurship and all just the connections and the people that you get to know. They took the Highland Mall and made it this incredible like communal space, and it's been so fun to watch for years. They're just building out the space, and we went recently to the PBS I guess the studio for Disrupt HR, and just like the parking to the walk to the kids walking around the campus. It was so neat, like to take it from an old mall to vibrant and life and like
and functional too.
Functional, yeah, and that's all the architect. I mean, you can develop all you want. Yeah. My friend's on the development side, but like it's all the architects that make that space like warm and welcoming and functional and alive. It's so cool.
Yeah, I sometimes get these moments. I'm not much into like material, like things, but spaces really speak to me. So when we were in Korea, we were in this it's an old house. The old houses are called hanoks. They're kind of the traditional buildings with the arched wood roofs.
Yes.
Really, really pretty. Very similar to Japanese architecture too. And there was one of those really old houses preserved in the middle of bustling Seoul, a little bit on a hill. In a particular one room that's they're often organized around courtyards too, have a lot of windows, and that room in particular surrounded by trees. So you feel like you're in the forest, even though you're in the middle of the city.
Oh,
and just
so
the beauty
cool.
of it, like the cold feel of the wood, and it was nice and breezy outside. So that, like things like that can just make me like stop and just like, oh my God, I'm so happy right now.
Yeah.
And it's just a space that somebody created, like maybe 2 years ago, maybe 50 years ago, maybe 200 years ago.
Right.
And that's pretty special. It's really cool.
Yeah, and like the intentionality behind that is that's what's like moving, I think, about a place like that is like just the amount of thought and like feeling that goes into that for others, because like I'm sure they're doing it especially in a home, but eventually, so cool. It gives me goosebumps. It's really neat. It's really, really neat. So what other projects do you have on the horizon with the woodworking or?
Yes, I'm currently still working on the bar for friends and clients. I do want to come up. I'm currently working on a couple of concepts for console tables and coffee tables.
Oh, love that.
And I really want to, I'm working on a concept where it's modular, so you can exchange them and you can personalize it easily for yourself.
Cool.
So I've started talking to some metal fabricators to see how the costing would be and how it would work out from a stability perspective as well. So I have a few ideas on that. So starting to build some prototypes in the garage, see how that works out.
That is so cool.
So can't wait for those. And then I started talking to another friend to help her build out the office. She just bought a new house. She was in Easton Park and we lost her to Kyle.
Oh, okay. Kyle is the new, very popular place to be.
Yeah,
it seems
it's growing.
Yeah, beautiful.
A lot of new builds for sure. So that's going to be the next one, like figuring out how to do a really nice kind of statement office wall for her space.
Nice. Very cool. If people in Easton Park wanted to hire you, are you taking on new clients?
Yeah, absolutely. I am. Yeah, I'm actually... because I feel like a lot of people are not really sure how the process is to work with somebody to help you design your home. So I'm offering free consultations online. So just a quick Zoom call. I mean, if it's in the neighborhood, it might as well be in the house as well.
Sure.
Just to talk through the process, understand what scale of project they're looking at. So yeah, if anyone is interested, the link is on my website. You just schedule 15 minutes with me and then we can go from there.
Awesome. That's really cool. And as far as like, we were talking earlier about other things that we were going to talk about, and you were talking about community and types of community. So we've done several of these podcasts, and the resounding likeness that we get in each one of them is we ask, what's your favorite part about Easton Park? And people say community.
Yeah.
And everyone talks about how diverse it is and how welcoming it is and how friendly everybody is. You were talking earlier about connecting groups of people. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. So, well, we've been here for 2 years and I've seen the community grow, and I feel like every other week there's a different way to connect with neighbors as well. So I'm part of the walking group, and so we regularly walk. It's exercise. It's good to, I don't know, just chit chat or sometimes vent or whatever you feel like in the morning. It's a very safe, welcoming, and non-judgmental environment.
Love it.
And for me personally, I'm leaning more into, I am not American. I am German. I am Korean. So looking for more ways to connect on that level too. I found, especially on the Korean side, like the community in Austin mostly seems to be far up north, because that's where the infrastructure, that's where the Korean grocery stores are, that's where the restaurants are. So if that's important to you, most people would live closer to that.
Sure.
But there must be some Asian people and Koreans down here too.
I'm sure. Well, this podcast might reach them because, and I think that, something you can do. Steve and I have started, well, Steve mostly has started clubs. He started the poker club. He started.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, poker club. And then we had a speaking group that we did, like a professional networking group that it was so much work to get people to come to.
Yeah.
But the HOA is excellent to work with to create a group. And so like you just go through the HOA and they can give you have access to, like, I think it's to the union, a place in the union for free, as long as it's scheduled. And it's really cool. And I think that you'd get a great big turnout if you wanted to start a club.
Yeah, maybe I should consider it.
What would you call it? Because I'm sure everyone would be welcome.
Of course, everybody. Yes.
So it'd be like the culture club or expanding horizons or something.
Foreign language exchange club.
What?
Yeah. Hennes has started this. There was one meetup, I want to say maybe 3 months ago.
Okay.
So the general idea is a lot of people are trying to learn a second or third language, and the best way to really learn is if you speak it.
Yeah.
And chances are that there's somebody else who is either native or trying to learn it too, right? So that I think was the idea of the meetup. So we had one meetup so far, so I probably should just check in on what's happening with that.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I think you get excited about starting a club and you get a collective that's excited, and then life happens. And
you got to keep the momentum. It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard, and you have to keep the people coming back. But I think that it would be really cool to re-engage with that. So how many languages do you speak?
So German is my native language.
Okay.
I'm fluent in English. I'm fluent in Korean.
Okay.
I learned French in school.
Okay.
If I had to, I could speak it. Reading and writing is easier than speaking.
Okay.
Just because I haven't spoken it for almost 20 years.
Sure.
And then I started learning Spanish.
Oh my goodness.
But my Spanish is very rustic, so I'm still learning on it.
That's awesome. Do you know Henny Novak?
No.
Did I say that right, Steve? Henny Novak? Jason and Henny are incredible. She's from Hungary, and she speaks, at one point, I'm remembering, I could be wrong, but I think she was speaking 5 languages, and then maybe a 6th. I can't remember. She's absolutely incredible. And like she was saying, and the more that I'm talking to people who speak different languages, I'm very interested in this, is she said that when she speaks English, that just because of the motions of her, like her mouth and the muscles, her tone is higher. And when she speaks Hungarian, it's like coming from her chest, and and her voice is much deeper. Does that resonate with you?
Absolutely does. My voice is different. There's also what I love about language is there are words in every language that you cannot translate because you can't describe it, or you can try to describe it, but the word is so rooted in culture that it's really difficult to explain, like Schadenfreude in German, right? Like I've heard people use it here in the US as well, because it's hard to translate it. There's no English equivalent to that.
What does it mean?
Schadenfreude is when you get enjoyment out of somebody else's mishap. So it's like, it's a little, it's not exactly positive, but
yeah, like you see someone trip in the airport and you like giggle.
Yeah. It's often also used if maybe the other person did you wrong before, so you're like, you get what you deserve. Kind of
like a karma type revenge, little like interesting. Okay.
So things like that, and I find that really interesting about language. And yeah, it's the same for me with the voice too. The tonation is different, the voice, the level is different. I didn't notice it, but Dan pointed it out to me and was saying like, your voice sounds entirely different. I'm like, it's, yeah.
Does he speak different languages?
No, he doesn't.
Is he learning or?
No, I mean, he has me. So when we were in Korea, for example, it was really funny. My sister, who lives in Germany, she was also there with her family. We were in Korea, and then Dan was there with his mother. So we had German, English, and Korean going on all at the same time.
Interesting.
And one at a time, no problem. But 3 languages at once, my brain totally went into overdrive. I spoke the wrong language to every person. It was really funny to see that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I spoke German to Dan, and he just looked at me like, "What are you talking about?"
That's so interesting. But I could see, because like, I mean, I can't even imagine. You know, even like when you're speaking one language and you have multiple conversations that you're like, if you're hosting or kids or something, where that's overwhelming enough, and then you have 3 different languages you're like talking
funny.
about. It's impossible. That's so very, very cool. So your sister grew up with you in Germany,
correct?
And she stayed.
She stayed.
Okay.
So she has a big family now. They're 5.
Okay.
So mostly I go to see them. It's also, I think, from her perspective, it's like, well, we all grew up here and you all left me. Like, parents moved back to Korea. You moved out. So, I mean, the least you can do is come back to see us, right? And I get that point. I get it.
You said she has 5 kids?
No, together they're all 5. So she has 3 kids. Yeah.
The kids are hard.
They're hard, but they're actually in a fun age now. They're
How
like
old are
kind of
they?
getting to teenage age. So 14, the big boy is 14, and you know how teenagers are. All he says is, "Yup, yup."
That's awesome. That's really cool. We have our nephews now every like 2nd or 3rd weekend. We see them a lot. They have their own room here. Love them. They're 5 and 3.
Oh my God.
And they're so fun. They're so much fun. But when they leave, it is like a different level of exhausted. But it's so fun. And they're the best. But teenage, like, I don't know. They become little humans. Like,
they become total humans. It was really funny. I think he's starting to think about what he wants to do with his life, or maybe my sister is asking him to think about it. And I don't think he knows. I mean, but then he's 14.
Yeah.
You have time to figure it out.
Yeah.
It was just funny seeing him, and he's like, seeing all the people working like in service when we're out, right? Like seeing people, and it's just, his comment was just, "Working really doesn't look fun."
Yeah. It'd be like, but it's not. It's
like,
really
buddy, you better change your attitude.
Yeah, you got a long, long life of working ahead of you. It is all about perspective, I guess. Yeah, so what would you, to Easton Park, so we have a lot of stuff. What would you add?
Oh, I would love a yoga studio.
Yeah, you should design one.
Yeah.
Get with the HOA. Like, we need.
I know we have the yoga through the gym, right?
I think so. Optimized, right?
Yeah, there is yoga there, but I would kind of like a whole studio where they do sound bath in the evenings and all kind of things. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Or a juice land. I would take a juice land or 2.
I love juice land. Yeah, I bet as time goes on, and I was driving down, I guess 183 the other day. Easton Park's going to go on forever.
I know.
So there's got to be a juice land and a yoga studio
right?
coming, right? I would think so. Have you been to Siniso?
Yes.
Okay, what's your order?
Matcha with almond milk, unsweetened.
I love an unsweetened matcha. It's not popular.
It's not for everyone.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
so good. It's like a jolt.
It is, and I feel like they did a really good job of sourcing a really great tasting matcha too.
Yeah, Harrison and Nancy are very good at what they do. We love Siniso. Have you had I know we've looked it up a bunch of times and we don't have the internet at the moment, so we can't. But have you seen like the green and the purple? Do you know what that is? I always forget to order it.
Yeah,
but I just like
taro or blueberry or something.
Yeah, but I love it just like that unsweetened matcha. I go oat milk, but like, oh, it's so good. I don't want to. I feel like the purple stuff's got to be sweet.
It's got to be
and
sweet,
right?
And
I like it.
Otherwise, what's the point of adding the purple stuff?
Right. It's got to be some sort of syrup. But I love their like. Oh, I love it. It's so good. It's so good. Is there anything else that you get at Siniso?
It's either that or a cappuccino.
Okay. I understand that they're about to open their third location, which is
I didn't even know they had a second.
Oh, that's a secret. I'm over here spilling the tea, spilling the matcha. Oh my goodness. All right, well, don't tell anyone.
What?
Yeah, exactly. We'll edit this out. So we were talking about architecture and what got you into your passion for what you're doing now, which is design and then creating very unique and custom pieces. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I kind of got into it like a while ago. Like I've always had the interest. It's always been there. It's kind of always been a passion of mine.
Yeah.
And in the past, mostly I've just applied it to my own home.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of months ago, I decided to kind of lean heavier into it. We have one life. Life is short-ish. So may as well do what you love.
Yeah.
And this is what I love doing.
Amazing.
So I decided to fully lean into it. I'm still working on our own home, but I've also started working with some clients on specific projects. For me, the focus is really on creating a home environment. Mm-hmm. So, of course, it's about having beautiful objects in your home, but also how do you use your space? How do you want to use your space? What kind of memories do you want to make in your home? So I think like there's more than objects that make a home a home. It's a lot about like flow in the house. There's a lot about bringing items in that remind you maybe of certain things in your childhood or in your past. Like the bar that I was mentioning for the speakeasy is actually very personal because the couple I'm working with, they are from New York. And they've had a long conversation about moving back to New York and ultimately decided to be here. But they want to bring a little bit of New York home. So that's where the Art Deco bar is coming from. Awesome. So that's really what I'm excited about, creating those spaces for people that they can really relate to and use and laugh in and create memories in. I started working with clients. I also, a couple of months ago, posted something on the Facebook group here in Easton Park. Got to meet a lot of neighbors who invited me to their home to see what they're working on, start a few conversations around what they're looking for in their house. We all have these beautiful, mostly white boxes when we move in.
Yep.
So there's a lot of potential and opportunity to make it truly yours, even though it's brand new. But what can you do to make it truly yours and feel at home, really?
Yeah, and that's a really good point, is I think that for most people, you do move into this white box. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. You've been dreaming about it. And in your mind, you might have these like visions of what you want it to be. And then you start shopping or looking at paint colors. It becomes very overwhelming.
Yeah.
And it's really hard for most people, I think, to like, I can't do it. I don't have that gear. Like understand a space and say, okay, well, the table can't go here, or should go here. Or you could do something very cool here. And is that something that you can help people with?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it goes from like helping to furnish a place, because in busy life, it can become a full-time job trying to find the matching furniture, especially for the right dimensions, and it should match everything else that you're buying. So starting from furnishing a place to remodeling if there's something that you want to move, or if you want to open up spaces. Painting, landscaping is nothing. I do inside the house, everything inside the house, or creating bespoke furniture too. If there is something, if you can't find really what you're looking for, or maybe it doesn't fit in the particular space, maybe you have an odd space that's tight or that's particularly large or that has a weird window somewhere.
Sure.
So that's something I help with as well.
Nice. So are you taking on new clients now?
Yeah, I am taking on new clients.
Okay.
If you're interested, you can set up a free 15-minute consultation on my website. The website is handwerkstudio.com.
Spell that for me.
It's HANDWERK. And Handwerk is a German word for craftsmanship. So I just wanted to give a nod to my German upbringing and my Germanness.
I love that. I love that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Anyone in Easton Park who needs design or furniture or I guess consultation on any of the things to make their home what they want, they can reach out to you at your website. And we will see you all next time.